Planet.com is one of the leading science fiction and comic retailers in the world, and we have over 600,000 products sold to date. So when you ask the question is why is data important to us within an organisation, trying to spot trends, similarities amongst that amount of data being sold is a key challenge. And I think our journey started 4 years ago. We've always been using data, but we wanted to analyse it faster, quicker and better to give us that commercial advantage over our competitors. Qlik was the key driver to this, and to date we've got many apps that we use within our organisation that are powered by Qlik, and it allows us to see the wood through the trees. So that is one of the reasons why data is so important to any organisation, and I think if you can find a platform that supports that and then helps your business grow, that's a partnership that I'm very happy to have Qlik as a partnership with us that we realise we can utilise, and I hope it goes from strength to strength and for the years to come. I think one of the key factors that was on our radar to then modernise our analytical platform was the offering of self-service. We wanted to get our users to be able to generate their own information and manage the data themselves, and Qlik achieves that. You build the models, you build the apps, and that's fine. We can build that from a point of view from an IT standpoint to help our staff and build some of those key apps. But the main driver and the main aim within this process has been, let's empower the users to build their own apps. And I'm pleased to say Qlik as a platform does deliver this. It delivers it in a self-contained, simple, easy to use model that we've got various staff that have built their own solutions, and they then publicise those solutions out to the whole company. So Qlik is a perfect fit for what we needed. I think to start with, the main areas was, could it deal with the data sets that we have? As I said, we are a 45-year-old business. We've got 25 years plus data, and that's at transactional level and many tills across a retail group. So we wanted to make sure that we could push that amount of data into a platform and have it deliver and not be a problem in 5-10 years time. And I'm pleased to say that to date we are seeing no issues with the amount of data that we're pushing into Qlik. So that was one of the key drivers. The other one was ease of use. We needed something that was simple for people to understand, clear and concise, and also has an element of self-service. I think that was the other driver for us, and Qlik offers all of those. It ticks all of those boxes. So for us, it is an absolute perfect fit for what we needed. And years on, I know we've made the right choice as Qlik is improving release after release. Every single update that comes out, there's always something new, and it's always something new that you go, I don't know why we didn't have that before. So the Qlik are clearly on the ball of what they're releasing going forward. So yes, definitely the right choice for us. I think the areas for adopting Qlik are quite easy, really. If you put the correct data in, people are going to be able to analyse that data, and then they'll trust the platform, and that's the key thing. I think the main area though that Qlik has over anyone is the green, grey and white. It's that option of being able to see something that isn't in your data selection, and there's very few platforms out there that can achieve this, because Qlik's looking at the whole data set all the time. And that was something that we demonstrated early with our users, and it really did empower them to go, oh, I made my selection and I didn't realise that this hadn't sold or this wasn't in that set, and it should have been. So I think that's a clear win and an easy way for people to trust that platform and give them insights that they wouldn't normally see. And I think the user interface, that is one of the easiest ways to get anyone to adopt the system. If you can use a mouse and you can click around something, you can pretty much use Qlik. So once you've got an app that's been built, they can then all jump in and start using it. And our deployment was very fast. We had probably around about 50 people using it within the space of about 3 to 6 months, which I know, talking to other vendors and other people, that's a very fast accelerated rate of people using a platform, certainly in any analytical platform. So I was proud about how fast it got rolled out, but I think it's just literally push the data out, make sure the data is correct, and your users will just use the platform because it's so easy to use. This is an easy one to answer. I've mentioned this in various presentations before, but we used to run our finance pack, our quarterly finance pack that we run. It used to be huge amounts of spreadsheets that were sent around, massive pack. And when Qlik was deployed and put in place, I managed to turn up at the meeting with no paperwork at all and ran the whole meeting through Qlik. So any question that was asked within that, there was various instances of people ruffling through paper, and it wasn't for me. I was literally coined the word 2 clicks away from actually getting the data back to the users and back to the meeting. So for us, it's a key driver to allow people to run self-service, which I've mentioned before, but it's that point of being able to get new insights into the data, analysing that data, collaborating with your teams, passing that information around and creating a real buzz around data. And I think that's what Qlik gives you. It gives you that point of being a buzz, and the whole company are talking about, oh, can I have a Qlik panel that does this, or a Qlik app that does that, or a Qlik sheet that does this. And that's what happens once we deployed it. Everyone wanted it, so they saw the benefits. And I think data literacy is the other one. Because the data is correct, people then start reading it properly, correctly, and analysing that data. And the most important thing is, once you've got correct data in there, people will argue with that data, knowing that they've got an insight that they want to challenge. Whereas if you try and challenge data that you're not always sure is correct, you don't know whether or not you're challenging it correctly, if that makes sense. So for us, there is no looking back. We wouldn't go back to a pre-Qlik environment at all. And this is definitely, for us going forward, the partnership that we wanted. We've got about 150 people at our head office, and I would say around 40% of the company is using Qlik on a daily basis, from finance to retail to buying. IT are using it for various log analysis. We put so much through Qlik now. If there's an option to move data into a platform, we would probably pick Qlik over anything else. So that then lends itself to a reasonable adoption rate, because people just understand that data lives in Qlik. That's its place of origin. So on various departments for the adoption rate, the easiest way was to just build the data sets, ensure those data sets are correct, and then just deploy an app out and then send a link out to people. And it was that quick. People then logged in, they were intrigued with what they were seeing, very quick training. It was minutes of training, that was it. And the end users, all they had to do was be able to use a mouse and type some key indicators in to do insight searches and selections. It didn't take long to train the staff to use the platform. So the adoption rate is good. We will be putting it out in more departments in the future, I'm sure. So we'll see what happens. The first app we built, I think, is probably the most value to us. The management accounts app was the biggest one by far. We analysed our management accounts every quarter. We were running those packs, and now it's gone paperless because of Qlik. So we can analyse any slice of data across any sort of date range and any type of business. As I said, for our online business, there's 600,000 products we've sold since its inception, and we've got multiple locations that are selling that. So we can analyse down to the actual product level of where it was sold, what it was done, how it's performing, its margins, its profitability. We can also analyse which suppliers are doing better than others, so we can slice that data any way we like. And another app that has been hugely successful is live web sales. So we take a feed from our online site into Qlik, and every 5 minutes we've got a live analysis of what the site's doing, how it's performing, what products are selling. So that then gives the buyers a huge insight to what's trending, what's not trending, and they've got almost live data, and that makes a huge difference to the business. This to me starts with data governance. You've got to make sure your data is correct. I think if it's correct, the users will trust that data and they'll trust the application that they've got presented in front of them. But that's only part of the story. I think you've got to then go down the route of educating your staff about data literacy. You've got to be able to know what that means, and you've got to explain that to them. You've got to show them that they need to read the data, and only at that point can they then argue with that data, because until you can read it correctly, you really can't say that you can challenge what you're looking at. And I think Qlik delivers a really useful tool for this. The selection bar is the first training building block that we did with our staff. We told them, well, when you've got any data, if you're then going to share that data with someone else, before you share it, just check that selection bar. Just make sure that selection bar is correct. And then give the narrative to explain, well, I'm looking at last week's sales, because you can see it in the selection bar, and we've got sales up by 20%. Now you know you're 20% up, but 20% up on what? So you're 20% up on the previous week, the previous year, and that's the point. You've got to educate your staff to look at that and then narrate that back in what they're then sharing with their colleagues or producing for a report. And I think that's our key thing that we've learned over the last 4 or 5 years of using Qlik. I think any organisation that has data shouldn't waste it, and I think that's been our main driver. Is we have all this data and we want to utilise it. So you need to put it in a platform and something that is up to date and can slice that data and deliver meaningful results from your data set. And when we say about data, it doesn't have to be billions and millions of records. It could be 100 records. It could be, you can slice data in any way you like, and it depends how detailed it is. But the most basic form of data can be used and benefit a business if used correctly. And I think that's what Qlik gives you as an analytical platform. It gives you that scope that you can chuck any amount of data, big, small, doesn't matter, and you can then slice that in a way that users will trust and they can then utilize and move the business forward. And it could be in any field, any scope, any department. It doesn't matter what it is. I think the important takeaway from this is, if you have data, don't waste it. Put it in something that can use it. And I think Qlik is a perfect tool for that. It's a tough one. It's hard to see the future. I think there's a lot of people out there using analytical platforms that believe they can see the future. Some do, some don't. I think for us, we would keep pushing the boundaries of the data sets that we've got. And with Qlik, I think we can keep pushing that boundaries of our expectations forward. The future releases that come out on a day-to-day basis from Qlik is great, because it's giving us the tools to then push us forward. I think if I was just blue sky thinking of an idea, I think I would look at some sort of more predictive analytical models possibly, and see whether that's something we could adopt within our organization. It would certainly help certain aspects of what we do. But I think for us, for now, it's using the tools we've got in a better form, and I think just building on those foundations that we have with the partnership of Qlik and us anyhow, and getting our users more up to speed in looking at the data and arguing and challenging it. And I think short term, I would take that hands down. If our users are using it more, I would prefer them to use a platform that can give them insights over a spreadsheet that they want to share. And to me, that's the main area of our next ventures with the Qlik.